Hey, I'm Mike Twombley, health coach and 6-pillar practitioner here at 6-Pillar Living with Dr. Aajay Shah. We're here to bring you the 6 pillars, nutrition being the one we're talking about today and have been for the past few weeks. The past 2 days, however, we've been breaking nutrition down into actual branches that separate the different areas that we can work on with regards to getting this area in your life balanced. First being quality. Next, yesterday was quantity. Now we're working into content. Now the distinction between quality and content is obvious in the definition of quality, but content is the specific foods that you're going to be choosing to eat daily and regularly in your life. Now we do want some variety, but for the most part, most of us eat the same foods on a regular basis over and over and over through our lives, with major changes rarely happening, minor changes happening here and there. But for the most part, we are going to be pretty stable in terms of the types of foods and the specific foods that we engage to eat in on a daily basis. So with that being said, it's very, very important that we pick the right foods so that we are getting what we need, and it is leading toward the goals, the health goals, the body goals that we actually have for ourselves and for you from Dr. Shah and I, in terms of reaching for the best health that you can possibly have. Now starting off, I'd like to encourage you to take a multivitamin every single day, because it is very difficult with the number of calories that we're going to be taking in to have all the vitamins and minerals that you're going to have. In fact, not anyone, no matter how many foods you eat, are you going to be getting in the 100% that is recommended or even available in a multivitamin that you're going to have daily. So this kind of as a backup is going to throw that multivitamin into your diet so that you start off at 100% as far as your vitamins, minerals, and when we actually add nutrients to it, the micronutrients and macronutrients that come in as a part of food, our carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, that's something that allows us to have the energy that we need and everything in place as far as the vitamins and minerals are concerned to actually break these things down and turn them into energy and turn them into tissue and turn them into life that we're actually pursuing in every piece of food that we take a bite into. Now, with that being the case, we talked about quality being closest to the sun. That's what we're looking for. Now, choosing the types of foods that we're going to do, there's 3 areas that we actually really kind of focus on, and Dr. Shah and I would like you to look at, is they're influenced by a moral influence, an experiential influence, and an influential experience that we all have on a day-to-day basis. Now the moral influence is going to be something that whether you feel comfortable with the way a food is actually packaged, created, farmed, and processed. And again, we're not talking about processing foods, but or processed foods in general. We're talking about processing of any type of food, say meat for instance. A lot of times people, myself included, are ones that make a move in their life toward vegetarianism for the purposes of getting away from the farming of animals. Now, that's something that you have to make that choice within yourself, and that again is going to be something internally that you work through for yourself and decide what you have in terms of any kind of conflicts with the way any food is being processed from the time it's planted, grown, to the time that it ends up on your plate. Now the influential part is going to be your culture, your family, your background, your relationships. All of these things are going to influence what foods you choose to have and what foods are actually in front of you all the time, which is a huge influence in terms of what foods we choose to have on a regular basis. In fact, our partner and that one that we choose is many times based on the fact that we like the same foods. Now, that can be wonderful, but once you're stuck in your way and then you start going into a relationship and you get around different social events and those things, it can be thrown in many different directions, and it can be tough to even kind of fit into certain circles as a result of that. So take into consideration what an impact the social environment and outside influences have before and as you're going through the process of choosing what foods you're going to actually have as a regular part of your daily intake. Now again, we're going back to quality and saying that we want them to be the healthiest foods, but as you do go through this, you're going to find some foods are not very healthy, some foods are more healthy, and your goals are going to be a dictating factor in that. The third is going to be experiential. Now, this is actually something that deals with an individual's experience having had the food itself. Now, that's something that could be as extreme as an allergy. But some people have allergies to nuts, they have allergies to wheat, they have allergies to gluten. These things are going to dictate for you that you can or cannot have certain things, and it can be an immediate response as great as death, or it can be something much more tempered and calmed down, but still underlying and causing you very, very uncomfortable situations with regard to your health if you're eating these things on a regular basis. So knowing your allergy profile is a very good thing to have and to know about yourself when you're choosing the content of your nutrition. Now, with that being the case, we then move on to whether or not you're going to have sugar and processed foods. So these are the three areas that Dr. Shah and I would like you to consider stepping into, and then you can kind of diversify and go outside of this and start to pick other areas that you're going to kind of decide that I'm going to take this into consideration or that into consideration. Start off with just three, okay? That's our challenge to you as you're stepping into this, so that you don't get overwhelmed with all that you have to take into consideration in this initial step into the content of your nutrition, okay? So stepping into that, it's meat, sugar and processed foods, and if you have any allergies. That will be a great step into this nutritional content designation or deciding process for you to be able to say, okay, these I have in line, now I can move forward. So whether or not you're going to have sugar and processed foods, remember there's 500,000 products on your grocery store's aisles, and that is going to be overwhelming. So you're going to have to decide whether you want sugar in your life and processed food in your life, or if it's going to be a process of elimination and trying to narrow that down and get that as healthy as possible, which means elimination of most of those things, if not all of them. It would be ideal for you to be in a whole food plant-based diet, something that's going to bring you the most nutrition, most health, and most longevity with regard to the future of your life and balance within the 6 pillars. So moving forward in this challenge, there are some things to measure, okay? We have mental sharpness. That's something that you're going to notice will either increase or it will decrease. You'll either feel more in a fog or you'll feel more mental clarity. Very, very important to stay in tune to this, because this is something that tells us what quality is being brought into our brain with regard to the content choosing of the specific foods that we're making. Second is emotional stability. Emotional stability is one that's very, very important, because our highs and our lows many times are dictated and affected and impacted by what we're eating on a regular basis. We'll talk about content with regards to timing and frequency in the next couple days, but feel out for the next half hour to 6 hours, and really that's even in excess, probably more like 4 hours, the impact that it has on your emotional stability. Next is going to be whether or not there's a weight loss or a weight gain that you're attempting to pursue. This goal is one that is very, very important to do with the quantity that we talked about yesterday and the quality that we talked about the day before. But in content, if we're not choosing the right foods, we're not going to lose weight. Or if we're trying to gain muscle mass, we're not going to gain weight if we're just putting junk into it that isn't going to help to build up the muscle tissue that we want it to. It'll continue to move in the wrong direction. All of us, for the most part, have a goal of looking better in one direction or the other, and it's very understandable. This is where content comes into play. Very, very important. Next is going to be inflammation and any kind of discomfort that you have following eating the foods that you are. Now, this could be an allergy, or this could just be an inflammatory food. I notice myself when I've eaten high carbohydrate, sugary, flour-based type foods, I end up having some inflammation, and I find that in old athletic injuries. I find that even in my kidneys, if I've eaten more than I should have. This sugar will actually, I'll feel discomfort in the lower back there, and one might think, oh, it's discomfort from the muscles being strained, but it's been something that I've consistently felt myself, and you'll feel these types of things in your own life. So pay attention, be keen to the physical reaction and the inflammatory reactions that are going on following eating these foods. Moving beyond that, waste removal isn't the funnest thing to talk about, but of course, having enough fiber in your diet is going to be important, and passing the waste through on a regular basis, making sure that that's not either looking inappropriate or not good, or making sure that it actually is something that is occurring on a regular basis. And finally, quality of life. What this does to your life, both on a physical level that we've been talking about, but also a social level. Are you really enjoying your life? Because that's the balance we have to find as well. And it is very important to be able to have the balance between enjoying your life, having food be a part of it, and establishing the relationship with food for you, so that you have this balance of nutrition in your life. And if you choose to pick the right content early on, and in this early stage, make those choices so that when you get into the social environments, you're strong, you're capable, and you're able to make the choices that are going to make you healthy, happy, and free. So Dr. Shah and I are on your side. We're looking forward to helping you and helping you move in the direction that you want to with regard to your health, and find the balance within the 6 pillars. And we'll be bringing you more tomorrow. Look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.